Hey, it's Rick from For Community, where we create community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. And I tell you, I love connecting. Not too long ago, I had a real huge heartbreak of a moment because it made me realize how old I'm getting. As I was getting out of the bed in the mornings and my feet touched the ground, both my feet were screaming at me because they were in so much pain, particularly my right one, and I could barely walk. I needed to hold on to things. I was thinking I'm going to need some kind of cane or something. My feet were killing me so much. I had no idea what was going on, but I knew that I was just getting depressed, man, because my life was changing before my eyes. So I went to a doctor, and the doctor said, you have plantar fasciitis. And I had no idea what that was, so I quickly looked it up. All that to say, the doctor gave me some inserts in my shoes. So I have these inserts that I put in my shoes, and I keep in my shoes all the time, and suddenly the pain's gone. And, well, mostly, not really. And I'm back to myself again, though. So I'm doing life again with a little bit of change. I had to let go with some of the things I was doing before, and now I'm almost back to my old self again. So that's me, but what about you? What's going on with you these days? What's making you feel pain or hurt or sad or empty or depressed? Go ahead and take just a moment and figure out what's going on with you right now that's bad. And what do you think you need to do to fix it right now? I had to go to a doctor. What do you need to do to fix it right now? Here's the topic for today. Sometimes life just goes south and starts to suck and makes us kind of depleted and even broken. The normal stuff we do sometimes leads to pain. And sometimes the people we connect with, the habits we form, and the life that we find ourselves living is just totally painful. And there's a lot of people experiencing pain. Is there a doctor for everyone? Is there a solution to everyone's pain? Okay, well, I'm actually going to take a stab at this today. Let's see if there's a doctor in the house just for you and whatever ailment you're experiencing right now. I'm going to read a passage, Mark chapter 9, verse 30 to 32, and we'll see if this might help you too. Leaving that region, they traveled through Galilee. Jesus didn't want anyone to know he was there, for he wanted to spend more time with his disciples and teach them. He said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. He will be killed, but 3 days later he will rise from the dead." They didn't understand what he was saying. However, they were afraid to ask him what he meant. Hey kids, remember to keep your eyes on the background for all of the characters that are hidden in there. And also please remember to watch this week's episode of Connect HQ. I really love this passage because in this passage is both pain and also hope. There's brokenness and there's healing as well. And it's all found in the phrase Son of Man. It includes both brokenness and hope. And I'm hoping that there's going to be something in this passage for you too that's going to help with whatever pain you're experiencing right now. So here's my point for today. Where there is brokenness, Jesus brings hope. I want to start with the phrase Son of Man. The title Son of Man is used in the Old Testament in just a few places, and it's pointing towards a person. But more than that, it's pointing toward somebody who's going to do something. I mean, Son of Man, as it's applied to Jesus, Jesus applies it to himself. We can make a point that Jesus is declaring that he is just a regular guy. Not only is he God, but he's also just a regular guy. Sure, we can make that point, but it's not where I want to hang my hat today. The Son of Man came to do something. It's what he does that really I want to draw attention to. That thing that he does is he carries two messages with him, a message of judgment and a message of hope. The message of judgment was this: God's people, the Israelites, had fallen away from God at the time, turned to idols, became self-obsessed, and generally stopped being a blessing to the people around them. So part of the role of the Son of Man was to pronounce judgment, letting them know that God had rejected that old way of doing things, and he's moving on because it's no longer working. The other message that the Son of Man carries is a message of hope. God wasn't just moving on so he could kind of wind up for a bigger slap. That's not what's going on here. God is moving on to create a new path of hope, a new way to connect with him. So ultimately, I think the Son of Man makes this integrated message. The brokenness of the past and present isn't going to hold God or humanity back. God will always provide hope for those who want to seek him. If you're in pain, if you're feeling broken, God's here to tell you the brokenness of the past and the brokenness of today isn't going to hold you back if you're truly seeking hope, because he wants to give you some hope. Okay, that's the message I want to share with you today. Regardless of your past, regardless of your present, God has provided hope for you, and you'll find it when you choose to seek him and follow Jesus. I'd like to break this down by looking at the two messages that the Son of Man carries with him: judgment and hope. We're going to look at judgment first, and then we're going to look at hope. So first, judgment. Brokenness is not your final destination. That's the message of judgment. A lot of people, they're afraid of God's judgment. They're afraid of what God is going to say when he comes and judges. And this is what God is saying as he's coming to judge. The stuff that you and I used to do is not helping. So he's coming to let us know that he's pushing that away and saying that no longer works, and providing us with something better to go to. The brokenness that we have right now is not our final destination. God says, I'm done with that, and I have something new for you. Now, I can't speak to your feelings. I can only empathize with what you share with me if you'd like to share something with me. Brokenness, however, isn't unique to you. It's not unique to me. It's common. We all feel and experience brokenness. If you're broken, if you feel pain, it's okay. You're not alone. You've got a big family of broken brothers and sisters. What I know about moments when I felt broken is that it feels like it's going to stay that way forever. And this is the word of judgment that God is bringing through the Son of Man. He's saying that path of brokenness, I'm done with it, and I want to give something more. But when I have felt moments of brokenness, it's felt for me like I was stuck, like I was defined, like I was defeated, like there was nowhere left to go. And frankly, it felt hopeless. And God is bringing judgment against that feeling of hopelessness and saying, no, that doesn't have to be your final destination. God's saying, I'm done with that. Don't stay with there. I've got so much better hope for you. The Son of Man in the Old Testament was given a message of judgment. And believe it or not, it's such good news. The judgment he was carrying was judgment against a system that promised to give hope, but never, ever did. It was a judgment of a way of doing religion and better spirituality or getting better at life that at the end of the day, it just proved to be empty and lifeless. In other words, God saw the brokenness that was all around it. God was thinking something like this: man, this isn't working. They need something better. So the Son of Man came to put an end to a system, an end to pursuits that just leave us absolutely empty. Let's talk about your brokenness or times when you felt really, really broken. I don't know what caused it, but I have a suggestion, okay? Just a suggestion, not true of everybody, but maybe it will be true of you. Sometimes brokenness lies at the end of necessary endings. Sometimes we're part of a system or friends or habits or even careers that are sucking the life out of us and taking away way more than they're giving back to us. And they leave us feeling empty, and they leave us feeling weak. Sometimes the brokenness that we feel is a result of us holding on too tightly to something that we really, really needed to let go. Sometimes brokenness is really an ending that was necessary for us to take so that we could finally move on to some place that's a little bit more healthy, because sometimes before we can find hope, we need to let go of the things we're holding on to very tightly, things that don't work for us, things that hurt us. To name just a few, okay, just a few, and this isn't judgment, but just to name a few. Sometimes we can embrace too much alcohol or drugs or toxic relationships or too much gambling or overeating, anything that's illegal, man. I mean, drugs and alcohol, they promise to make us feel great. They promise that they're going to let us have fun, but sometimes we overdo alcohol and it's not so fun for us anymore. It sucks the life right out of us. Toxic relationships, promise us hope for the future, stability, financial freedom, good times, but man, putting our hope in another human being so that they provide the happiness that we're seeking, regardless of whether that's a toxic relationship or a good relationship, putting our hope in another person, making them Putting the task on them to make us happy that's just a vain pursuit. It's not going to happen. I mean, those are just some things, right? The reality is that there's so many things that we can chase after in search of a good time, a better life, that just leave us empty. So I don't know you. I just know what brokenness looks like sometimes. Sometimes brokenness is what life looks like at a necessary ending. Brokenness is a moment for us to say, wait a minute, what I was doing isn't working, and it's time to do something new. And that's the judgment call message that the Son of Man brings with him. He's letting us know that the old system, the old way that we are doing things that weren't giving us hope, God says, I'm putting an end to that, and I'm providing a new way for everyone to find hope. And so that's the beauty of the second message that the Son of Man carries with him. And here's the second message. There's always hope. Even if right now you're not feeling it, even right now you're feeling depressed, feeling dejected, rejected, defeated, whatever, there is always hope. When God sends the Son of Man to proclaim a message of judgment, which is really a message that an ending is essential, he doesn't just stop. God's always doing something to try to connect with us. When he brings something to an end, he's starting something new. Okay, wow, text yourself that quote. Put it on Facebook. Remember that somehow. When God brings something to an end, he's starting something new. There's not just an ending with God. There's more possibilities. There's way more to continue. There's a deeper road to go and a better way to travel. When God brings something to an end, he's starting something new. The new thing that God was starting was a thing that would give people back their hope. If they would stop chasing the stuff that didn't work and start chasing the new thing that he was providing, hope would be found. But it's a choice, right? It's a choice. I mean, we can stay broken in our brokenness and our broken systems if we choose to, still pursuing the same things that never give us hope, never give us joy, never fill us up. We can continue to do that if that's what our choice is. But if we want to make an ending and say, okay, something in my life isn't working because I'm broken, I'm experiencing pain, I'm not feeling the joy, I'm not feeling the fulfillment that I'm really seeking, then we're at the beginning of something new that God's going to do for us to give us hope. And that new thing that Jesus came to do is offer us friendship with God by choosing to follow Jesus. That's where it starts. It starts with us choosing to follow Jesus, that we come into a friendship with God. The message of judgment is this: all that stuff isn't working, can't make you happy, can't make you feel fulfilled. The message of hope is this: if you follow Jesus, you'll find hope for today, and you'll find hope that will last forever. It's not the kind of hope that you just lose because you're on to something new, because it's lackluster, it's something else bright and shiny came around. It's the kind of hope that's going to stick you all through this life, and you'll find that it's something that carries you into eternity as well. The hope of following Jesus is a hope that lasts for all eternity. There are moments in life that are so bad. God doesn't want to leave you in that pain. God wants to help you. God wants to walk through that pain with you and give you hope. It starts with your choice to follow Jesus and continues with your choice to follow Jesus. Here's one of the greatest ideas in the New Testament, and it's in this passage right here. It says this: the Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. He will be killed, but 3 days later he'll rise from the dead. It's such a great message that's all through the New Testament. Jesus knows brokenness because he's been broken himself. The message of judgment regarding systems that don't work was proclaimed on the cross. He didn't come with a hammer, with some kind of machine gun, with lightning bolts from the sky. That's not how he proclaimed his message of judgment. He proclaimed his message of judgment on the cross, saying this world system sucks. The very best the world has to offer me is this moment on a cross. The world's system doesn't work. The message of judgment came with his death on the cross. But look at the text. 3 days later, he rose from the dead. And that really happened. It's like Jesus was saying as he got out of the tomb, look at this. This is the very best that the world can have. My way works better because it ends in life, not in death. My way really can give hope. So maybe today there's a necessary ending that you would like to make. You can recognize any brokenness that you have and declare that life just doesn't really work that way, and there's absolutely a better way. You can choose to follow Jesus and receive his hope for you, for now and also forever. Where there's brokenness, Jesus brings hope. When God brings something to an end, it's because he's starting something new. But remember, it's your choice. Would you please choose to follow Jesus? Short one today, isn't it? That's it from me to you for now. If you haven't yet connected with a church, with a community of people who want to discuss spiritual things or just want to hang out with other friends and just talk about life, would you please consider connecting with For Community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. See you next time.